welcome to Stopping the Roller Coaster of Performance, Performance Excellence in Today's Modern World. My name is Paul Boston. I'm the president of Actus Performance. We are a high-performance development consulting firm located in Toronto, Ontario. We work with businesses and organizations, helping them elevate their level of performance. Let's get right into it today. Many businesses are faced with continuous challenges and changes in technology, global competition, mergers, right-sizing, downsizing, employee turnover are all part of our new world, whether we like it or not. However, there's an increasing demand for improvements in profitability, productivity, increases in sales, faster turnaround on our goods and services, and improved relationships with our clients. However, our modern world often leaves us feeling like we're performing on what I call a roller coaster. People, teams, and organizations are achieving minor goals daily, but then fall into a valley where they're struggling and missing out on the opportunities to become innovative, creative, efficient, and effective. We need to start moving away from this roller coaster of performance and start moving towards a step approach where we're actually starting to achieve those meaningful objectives and goals of our organizations and businesses. So the question I often get asked is, how do we do this? And let me share with you my personal story. I was working as a professional in the corporate world, and I was also an elite level athlete. And I started to see parallels with respect to performance challenges. However, businesses and organizations were failing miserably at improving performance. High-performance athletics over the last few decades have developed and refined an enormous range of performance skills that are now necessary in our modern world. For today's webinar, we're going to take a look at what I call the performance DNA of high-level performers. So this is the attitudes and values all high-level performers possess. And we'll also take a look at some of the skills high-level performers use on a daily basis to really keep their performance level high. Here's my little creation of a DNA high-level performer molecule. And let's start off by looking at learning. High-level performers are all about learning. They're passionate about learning. Learning is what fuels their performance mojo, if you want to call it. Whether it's informal or formal learning, high-level performers are just natural learners. High-level performers are also about simplicity and efficiency. They like to keep things simple, clear, and concise as possible when they're completing tasks or assignments. And I often say to my clients, I think high-level performers are the ones that develop the KISS principle. Excellence. High-level performers are all about excellence. And a lot of people say to me, but Paul, you know, I've got 12, 15 things on my plate to do all at once. How can I be excellent at all of them? And the trick is to really, really refine that list down to find those 2 or 3 key things that's going to have the greatest impact on performance. And that's where you focus all your time and energy, and that's where you develop excellence. Decisive. High-level performers are all about being decisive. They'll do their background work, research, talk to people, but when they make a decision, they stick to it and carry it through. High-level performers are confident and humble. They're confident enough in the skills and abilities they have to do their job. And they're also humble enough to receive feedback on how to improve their performance, whether it comes from their direct reports, their managers, or even their clients or customers they service. Process. High-level performers are all about process. Sure, high-level performers get motivated by those big goals and objectives that the organization sets out, usually at the beginning of the year, but high-level performers have an innate ability to stay focused on the steps and tasks that are in front of them on a day-to-day basis that will allow them to achieve those bigger goals and objectives the organization or business has set out for them. Never content. I see this with a lot of high-level performer salespeople I work with. They might go out there knocking on doors day after day, and then they land that big piece of business or that client they've been trying to get for the past few months. And they take time, they celebrate the win, but you know what? The next day, they're back out there doing the same thing again because they're never content with just that one new client. They constantly want to up the bar of performance. So let's take a look at some performance skills. And I often get asked, Paul, if there's one skill that I can start using tomorrow that will improve my performance, I always say it's focus. Focus because we live in such an age of distraction. You know, whether it's incoming emails, text messages, people stopping by our office door, there's so many distractions that pull us away from doing the things we have to do. So learning the ability to stay focused is a key performance skill in this day and age. The next performance skill high-low performers have is bounce, and that's the ability to recover from setbacks. And high-low performers, just like everybody else, have setbacks. However, they're able to recover from their setbacks faster than most people. They learn what they have to learn from their setbacks, and they keep at it. Risk. High-low performers are all about taking risks. When I say risk, I don't mean careless risk. I mean prudent risks. Again, high-low performers will do the background work, the homework, and when they're ready to take that risk, they take it with confidence, knowing that they're going to succeed in what it is they've set out to do. Perspective. High-low performers are all about keeping perspective. You can drop them in a state of chaos, confusion, things going around them that's not according to plan, and you know what? They're able to maintain a calm, cool demeanor, stay focused on the process and the goals that they have to achieve. Consistency. High-low performers are all about performing consistently. They can channel their energy and their thoughts daily into what it is they have to do in order to reach those goals and objectives. Flow. I'd say this is the newest performance skill that gets a lot of attention in the media. But flow has been around forever, and it comes from the Eastern philosophy world of the Zen state. And in the high performance world, the high performance athletics, we tend to call this being in the state of zone. So you're in that performance zone. And you know you're in that performance zone when you're working away on a particular project. It could be writing a strategic document. And you're so absorbed in what it is you're doing, you're writing, you're unaware of all the distractions that are happening around you or the time that's going by. You're solely focused on what it is you're doing. So once again, once we start learning these performance skills and adopting these performance attitudes and values, people and teams within organizations and businesses will start moving away from this awful roller coaster of performance and start moving towards this step approach to achieving goals and objectives that have meaning and impact for the organizations they work for. And this will lead to improvements in profitability, productivity, increases in sales, have that fast turnaround on those goods and services you want to get to your clients, and ultimately keep your clients and customers happy and engaged with you. Along with this also gives employees a sense of achievement and accomplishment. And again, I mentioned earlier, employee turnover being a huge factor for many organizations. Learning these performance skills, attitudes and values, and using them daily will really give that employee a sense of, yeah, I want to stay here, have a career here, and it'll also give them the ability to start crafting that elusive work-lifestyle balance that we talk about so much that very few of us are able to live. If you'd like to discuss the performance challenges you are facing within your organization, feel free to contact me at paul@actusperformance.com or call me directly at 416-429-1247. Thanks for your time and have a great day.